The federal government yesterday said that for over 12 years, Nigeria had not done much oil exploration, but noted that with the increase in activities in the sector, the country should be doubling its crude reserves, especially with the floating of the Frontier Exploration Fund, FEF. Speaking in Abuja during a visit by the governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, the Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, reiterated that the nation was targeting 2 million barrels per day by the end of this year. Stressing that the federal government cannot do it alone, Lokobiri stated that the pace of progress as far as exploration activities are concerned in Kogi was slowed down because of the state of the economy. This information was disclosed just as all 8 persons aboard a helicopter hired by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which was en route to one of its oil platforms in the Niger Delta, died in a crash yesterday. Reacting to the news of the helicopter crash, President Bola Tinubu commiserated with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the families of the helicopter crash victims. According to Bayo Ononuga, the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, President Tinubu directed the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and other relevant agencies involved in the rescue mission to intensify their search for survivors. The President has also directed the military to provide the necessary support needed by the agencies. Very sad one there, Rufai. In terms of the crash yesterday, news broke about the crash which happened about 11:22 a.m. when it lost signal with base. But beyond that as well, to offer our condolences to the NNPCL and, of course, families affected by this. And the story by the Minister of Petroleum, State Oil.
So I'd like by offering our condolences to NNPC, the families behind this, and also to NAPE, because Captain Yakubu Dukas, the pilot of the helicopter, was actually the vice president of NAPE, which is a very sad one, very stellar captain, over 20 years experience. The helicopter, the craft, had left the base at the hangar of Arik Anga at the naval base, and it has flown all the way, to the rig out there. But it crash landed definitely into the waters there. Very sad one. I'm not sure anybody survived that, all lives lost in this incident. But they are still hopeful because there were no transmission. Technological transmission that the helicopter is normally supposed to make with the base. So getting the exact site of this that happened is quite a big one. But, it's out there in the Bonny waters. We just hope that they're able to get it. It's a manual search and rescue that has started. 8 people, like I said, on the manifest. I'm not sure anybody has made it alive, but we can only pray and hope for miracles at a time like this. But as regards to exploration, yes, in 2022, I think there was a legal document as regards a Frontier Exploration Fund, which was supposed to be an escrow fund, where there's supposed to be donors, the NNPC and the likes, to be able to look at all this frontier basin. And it's not today we've been talking about this frontier basin. We've talked about the Chad basin, the Anambra basin. In fact, even recently, we had the exploration going on the Komani, river, basin area. And that was met with a lot of pomp and pageantry. But the question is, from exploration to actually getting that well to be serviceable in such a way that it has to provide viable, resource for the economy, it's a very long stretch. It doesn't just happen overnight. Hence the fund that needs it. Some people have argued, do we even need this exploration? Because we are talking in one breath of, moving on off fossil fuel energy, decentralizing the economy. Why are we now going to fossil fuel and wasting our money, as it were, on all these basins? But the other argument has always been, why don't we enjoy it? Because, you see, this climate change narrative by the West is after because they fully industrialized. How about us here on the African continent? How are we going to be able to develop this? But all of this also comes back to the conversation of making our investment climate very conducive. The problems you're having with exploration, why the big ones are not coming into the exploration, is equally the problems you're having with the wells in the country. The climate of doing business, all the shenanigans that happen with the NNPC, the laws of the land that it took us so many years to be able to cure that PIA struggle. So let's just hope all of this goes well.
All right, Dr. Abati.
Okay. The Minister of Petroleum Oil, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, made this statement when the Kogi state government visited him. And one of the major points made by the Kogi state government is that, look, we are an oil-producing state, and we have provided infrastructure. We hope to benefit more from oil revenue, which is the expectation of every state that is declared, an oil-producing state. Yes, Kogi State has hydrocarbon deposits in Abekolo, in a place called Abekolo. They border Imo State, Anambra State, I think Enugu State. They have, coal deposits in Kogi State. But if you look at the map, there's also hydrocarbon oil and gas deposits in a place called Abekolo. So they visited the minister and said, oh, we have provided, infrastructure. Infrastructure being a major issue in oil and gas zone. Okay, Kogi State is one of the, poorest states in Nigeria. If you look at it, it's a very poor state. So now hydrocarbon deposits there, exploration, will give them an advantage. But I think that the main thing about that meeting is that the Kogi State people or government should not raise the expectations of the people that there's money coming. Because once any persons in any state hear that, oh, we have oil and gas hydrocarbon deposits, our state has become rich. No, not that fast. Now, I think Senator Lokpobiri told them probably what they would like to hear. And each time I talk about Senator Lokpobiri here, he's always trying to check when the minister is making political statements or not. For example, he told the Kogi State people that Nigeria will produce 2 million barrels per day, oil exploration. Okay, fine. 1.5 is the quota for, external exploration as approved by OPEC+. Okay, the remaining balance, if we can make it, as they keep telling us in that ministry, maybe it will meet local demands and all of that, but we will be able to make it. Do we have the level of investment that is required? Do we have the resources to drive this? Even the reserves that they're talking about, at the moment we do 37 billion barrels, in terms of reserve. Now, Minister Lokpobiri tells us that we can double that. Okay, that again is a very optimistic statement. But is it something that is factual? Is it something that is realizable? Is it a political statement? Now, he talked about the Frontier Exploration Fund, and he says that the Tinubu government is available to provide the resources to, operationalize this. Where is that money going to come from? We have the Sokoto Basin, we have the Chad Basin, we have the Benin Basin, we have the Gongola Basin, we have the Anambra Basin, to which, Kogi State belongs. Now, what is the level of investment there? Even in the Anambra Basin, that is the main reference now, who is exploring in the Anambra Basin? So, these things should be based on specific facts, not promises. But I guess Senator Lokpobiri is doing his job. The job of people in government is to give people hope. The people of Kogi State cannot go to him and say, we are hoping that things will be done at the federal level and all of that. And this Frontier Exploration Fund that they are talking about is supposed to be derived from the profit of NNPC Limited, as provided for in the Petroleum Industry Act. Go and look at the Petroleum Industry Act. So what level of profit is NNPC Limited making that it will provide for further exploration in the Frontier Exploration Fund? So there are gray areas that the minister himself has not explained. But when visitors come, they say they have hopes, they have provided infrastructure. The best thing that you can do as Minister of Petroleum Oil is to give them further hope. But Nigerians should look at the details. The devil is in the details.
So it's a season of renewed hope, so I'm sure we'll hear a lot of hopeful statements by the government. But like you rightly said, Dr. Bati, it's not just about hope, it's about the realities, or perhaps how factual some of the statements are. A number of things have been said by the minister in recent times. Recall only a few days back, we talked about how the 1 million barrels per day target by NUPRC during their third anniversary in the next 2 or 3 years. And he said, actually, that's not even enough. Let's double it. That was the charge he gave them at that at their celebration and then announcement of that 1 million barrels per day initiative. And now he's coming to say that, still maintaining that before the end of the year, they are targeting 2 million barrels per day. The end of the year leads in 2 months. And so I'm not sure just how much of a target this would be or how achievable this target is, but we continue to watch. But the truth is, if the government, the minister, wants to engender trust from the Nigerian people, then they must be willing to be honest. We've forgotten the story about the refineries where we kept pushing back the date of them working. And unfortunately, we haven't heard anything from the NNPCL. The dates were moved back from last year, 2023, even up till now. And this is why there is continuous distrust amongst the people when government officials, especially in the oil and gas sector, make announcements like this because it's seen not to be achievable. Now brings me to the PIA provided provision for special intervention funds, one of which is the Frontier Exploration Fund, FEF. Now, as has been said, it's supposed to be managed by the NNPCL, and there are some key things, according to the provisions and the terms of agreements of that fund is supposed to do. Number one, and which would help this exploration drive, the minister announced, is more research and database. The importance of ensuring that they're able to understand, number one, exploration sites and acreage, and also have priority areas has been mentioned. These are some of the things that the fund is supposed to go to. He said that in the past few years, there's not been a lot of exploration. They haven't had the opportunity to do so. But the PIA provision came in 2021, and 90, just a few months back, was questioning how much the money has realized and what the fund has been used for. These are the things that we talk about with the NNPCL, lack of transparency, when they set out targets, when they set out amounts of money, ring fence for a particular project. So it's not just about making promises. It's also about ensuring that even the provisions of the law are met and it's transparent and we can see what the fund has been used for, especially in exploration. He said double 35 billion. Well, Nigerians are watching. Let's see to what 37 billion, to double 37 billion. Let's see to what extent that promise will be made. But of course, it will be good news for states like Kogi who are saying that their potential of being able to to get their 13% derivation has not yet been explored or tapped into. So for the Kogi State governor, it was essentially speaking on behalf of his government to tap into that oil 13% derivation fund. Let's see how that works out.